So welcome back. So again, I'm Jesse, I'm your host. Nick just asked me to spend a couple minutes just kind of talking about what I get to do for a living and how that kind of fits into the conversation we have here. And so I work for Prison Fellowship, which is the nation's largest organization that serves prisoners and their families across this country. So before I kind of get to talk about what I get to do for Prison Fellowship and for the men and women who are incarcerated in this country, I just wanted to kind of talk about, what is reentry? What is it really? We throw that word around, and over the years I've said time and time again, sometimes we're not really talking about reentry, we're talking about entry. We're talking about people coming into what we would call, quote unquote, society the first time. But if you're to break it down even more than that, what is re-entry? We're all leaving somewhere, going somewhere else. We've all had to introduce ourselves into some new group or some new subculture. We've all made mistakes. Everybody in this room would like to change something about ourselves. We've all struggled with some form of addiction. We have all come to some kind of conclusion that we don't like this about ourselves and we would like to change it. We've also, everybody in this room, have come up against the wall and said, I can't change that about myself. Or why do I think this about myself? Every one of us has come against that in their life. And I want to just say that reentry is about overcoming. It is about overcoming failure at the end of the day. It is looking at your failures and saying, how can I overcome that failure and put it behind me? And when I speak to men and women in prison, particularly men, this is really simple, kind of. It is really a leadership principle. Reentry is a leadership principle. It is a common principle to everybody in this room. It is a common principle to everybody in humanity. And that is, how do I get from here to there? That is the most profound definition of leadership that I've ever seen. The ability to take somebody from here to there, particularly when somebody can't see the there themselves. That is leadership. And so when we talk about reentry, we're talking about how do we get people who are in a place to a different place. And that takes three things. It takes movement. You've got to move. If I need to get from here to there, it seems very simple. You would say, Jesse, if I said to you, hey, how do I get from here to the front door? I'd probably get 50 different answers, but all of them would include something to the ability of you got to move. You got to pick up your feet, you got to walk. Now somebody would say, you got to walk there. And I say, okay. Whoa, that actually moves. Right? And so then everybody would start to say, well, Jesse, no, you got to move the other way. You got to move this way. The door's over there. Well, I can't see it. You've got to have vision. So what happens if you have movement without vision? You have activity. You're just doing things. And if the people in this room have spent time in prison, how many people who have been in prison know there's a lot of activity? How many of us know people? What do you get out? Oh man, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to be a rapper, I'm going to be a clothes designer, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. It's just a bunch of talk. It doesn't mean it's not good intention. It doesn't mean that it's even not valid. It just means, though, there's no vision. And a lot of times there's no movement except the guns. And that's not going to help you get from here to there. That's not going to help you when we talk about reentry. It's not going to help you. There's actually been a study that says people that have created a goal, say you want to start a business, and you talk about that business that you want to start it, there is a release that happens, a chemical release in your brain that occurs that gives you a little bit of the satisfaction as if you actually completed it. And so what happens, what they found is that people who talk about what they're going to do more, the less likely they are to actually do it. Because your body tricks you into thinking that you've actually accomplished it already. You're actually pretty good. You know, man, yeah, I'm going to do that. And in person, that is everywhere. It is everywhere. And so we've got to understand that when we think about re-entry, we're really thinking about how do we take someone from here to there? How do we get movement with a vision? And the third part is grit. It takes pure grit. Now, grit is a word that's being thrown around in leadership circles today. There's a book called Grit. There's a grit scale. And all of these things are good. But all of these things have to be in concert, working together. And so when we talk about re-entry, ladies and gentlemen, we're just talking about leadership. We're talking about how do I, as an individual, get myself from here to there? How do I get the right movement? Put in the right work? You know, John Maxwell said, dreams don't work unless you do. Seems simple enough. But these are common principles. And when we talk about re-entry, we've got to remind ourselves, number one, whether we've been in prison or not, that it's the same principles to put into work. And then, in my experience, when you walk into prisons, these principles are not being practiced. And so, you know, have a vision, be able to see beyond where you can see yourself. If you can't see yourself beyond where you are now, grab somebody who can and get you there to take you there. Then grit. You've got to have this force, this internal fire. And so that is where prison fellowship comes in. So you're thinking, well, why is this guy talking crazy about re-entry? Well, because those principles and this whole concept of re-entry can change. Because at the end of the day, a man or a woman will not take on a new world, which is what we are asking them to do. We are asking men and women who are incarcerated to drop everything that you know, everything that you believe, how you fit into the world, what you're good at. Just like Jerry was sharing. He could have $10,000 drop on his bed. Why wouldn't he want 10,000 people coming in and dropping 10 G's on his bed? Can I sign up, please? Why wouldn't he want that? The answer in re-entry is behind the why. Because Jerry had a value system. Jerry believed something. Jerry believed that, you know, that was the right way to go. Whatever value system that Jerry developed over his lifetime made it okay for Jerry for people to come drop 10 G's on his bed. So what we are saying is we want to transpose or transfer the value system that you have with this other one. And that goes back to this idea that all of us have had things in our life that we want to change that you can't. Why? Because it's hard. It's just hard. Whether you're fighting against nature or nurture, it doesn't matter because it's just hard. And we don't like to fight for change in ourselves. We will rationalize it away. We will do all types of different things to make, oh, this is just who I am. I don't want to, that's just who I am. It's because of my dad. It's because of my mom. It's because of how I was raised. It's whatever it is. We make it part of ourselves. And this is exactly what happens to many women in prison. They take it on themselves. And so what we do is we step in and we say, no. That's not how it works. That's not how the world works. That's not how you work. That's not how anything works. I'm going to destroy your world. And I want you to take these new pieces and I want you to put them together and create the world as it should be. And ladies and gentlemen, that takes time. And so at Prison Fellowship, what we do is we do a lot of things. You're about to hear from my colleague Heather Royce-Finest, who does all our advocacy work. But on the programming side, on the re-entry side, we believe that re-entry begins at the rest. That if you want to be successful upon your release, it starts the day you're arrested. And so, in places we have we have hundreds and hundreds of programs in prisons across this country, but some of our most intense programs, called the Academy Program, is at least a year in length. It's different levels of intensity. And what it is, it's a values-based program that is built on the values of good citizenship. So what we want to say is, men and women in prison, change doesn't occur after you leave prison. There's no magical fairy dust that sprinkles on your head when you walk out the threshold of our prisons, and all of a sudden, you are now a quote-unquote good citizen. Okay? So it happens today. You can be a good citizen today. So our program is built around the values of responsibility, integrity, productivity, affirmation, community, and restoration. We expect men and women in our program to begin practicing those values today. So we have a great opportunity to have this conversation up front, just like this, exchanging your value system in our prisons across the country. So I know that I have gone too long already.
You still got 15 minutes.
And so it's just a great opportunity to be able to take this conversation about exchanging your worldview for something else. And at the end of the day, it comes down to human dignity, who you are as a person, what you believe about yourself as a person, what you believe about yourself as a citizen, and what kind of responsibilities are attached to that. I was 21. I robbed a bank at gunpoint. I met Nick. I told myself I'd never go back to prison. But, so I spent about 8 years in prison myself. And the thing that I took away from me as I walked out of prison was that the cultural norms and values that exist inside of our correction system, if you live by them, after you get out, where are you going? Right back in. And why is that? It's because those values and norms are antithetical to pro-social values and norms. And so so if you think about the values that are highlighted, even as you watch television, even in your own experience, is honesty of value inside of prison? No. Do I walk up and introduce myself and say, "Hey, Biker Joe, my name's Jesse. How are you?" What does the networking look like inside prison? It is completely different because it's built on and based on a different value system. So everybody in this room, all the work that you do, just as Karen shared, you are an expression of good citizenship. You are a role model. And in prison fellowship programs, social modeling is a major foundational component. And what we've actually found is the glue for our success. And what I mean by that is a lot of men and women have not seen what it means or experienced what it means to be a good citizen. So as soon as you show them and you give them the opportunities to practice good citizenship, you will see very, very good results.